there. So this journey's just getting better and better, isn't it? Really enjoying the journey. I got my hair oiled up again, so just bear with me through that. My hair is getting to a length that it's very, very lot of work. Very lot of work. But I am determined as an experiment to not cut it for at least another year, maybe a year and a half, 2 years. We'll see how it goes. That's my goal. I want to see how long it grows because, well, for a couple reasons. I'm testing a couple pieces of knowledge that felt like truth to me. One was that your hair grows to the length that's appropriate for you, so it'll stop growing when it's the length that's meant for me. And I don't know who said that along the way, but I remember hearing it. And then another was a spiritual teacher that I take into consideration. Mentioned that it takes 3 years for the sensors to grow back on the ends of your hair when, after you cut it. And so the hair is an extension of the nervous system, right? And it grows back because, it's useful to us. We need it. And I am very sensitive, right? I can sense a lot. Sipping this water is really helpful to me during this time of moving through a lot of energy right now through my body. So bear with me. I'm going to take a lot of sips of this water. This is my second bottle of this size of the day. Plus I had 2 smaller bottles while I was out and about. So water's just like helping me push through and purify everything. And it's just a beautiful thing because I feel good, I feel better, I feel clearer, I feel like, oh, I know where I'm going now. Yeah, so anyways, I wanted to elaborate on a concept that I talked about in the Messages from Hermes reading. In that reading, I mentioned that that thoughts are things, and that thoughts are moving toward the direction that of what's being focused on when they are thought. And so I just wanted to make sure that I didn't mislead anyone into thinking that they're being victimized by others or that they could be victimized by others. That's just a piece of information. So if someone's projecting something onto you and it's not pleasant, they're judging you or thinking of you as lesser or whatever it is, blaming you, shaming you, talking behind your back, whatever it is you're picking up on, you're stronger than that, whatever it may be. There could be like a whole community of people against you and you're still stronger than that. You can still heal the wounding in you that's a match to that experience, and then you're above it, and then you just see them as people who are projecting instead of being the victim to their projection. It's just that when you before you have healed that wound, you may feel that, and that can be felt, and that is a difficult thing to traverse. However, if you're already in the growth mindset, if you're already solution oriented, then you already know that anything that's happening to you on the outside is a piece of information that's lending towards your healing and your understanding and your growth. So if you learn that you can read someone's thoughts, or if you feel the pressure of someone's thoughts or projection, then you go into yourself to find out where that weakness is. Why am I susceptible to this? Why is this something that is making any impression or dent or burden on me? And then that's something to heal, right? And so the way we heal something is to accept it. So the way we accept it is to acknowledge that it's happening, Validate why we feel the way we do. Accept that we feel that way. Love the part of us that feels that way. So we're taking it into us, us, the wholeness of who we are and everything we've traversed up to this point. We're not just the person who is having a self-doubt. We're the person who's overcome a lot of things up to this point, survived everything that we've encountered up to this point. We're very strong, capable, and adept. And we give ourselves the missing piece that was allowing that to even hit us in a way, So we love ourselves through it. And then, then once we've understood ourselves and why we felt weakened, why we felt like that was something that mattered, then we can possibly see where it's coming from, why it's coming from, and accept that they are in a position, of their own experiences. And if they can't take and love the pain in themselves, they're just going to look for it in someone else. That's how it works. So when they look for it in someone else, if they found you and they decided they could project it onto you, that's not going to bother you unless you have a matching wound to that. So if you do have a matching wound to that, you just take care of it. You just love the wound and understand yourself in that situation, right? Understand why you're a match to that and move through it. It's important to know we're not a victim to this, Thoughts are things, but they're not more powerful than we are. Okay? Okay. Now, let's see. This reading, I want to do something about relating. So, we're going to look at a relationship, and again, we're going to apply fair relating. And I had a comment recently, and I was thrilled to have a comment recently. But it was a question by someone who said, what is fair relating? And I thought, oh, okay. That's a fair question. I'm glad you asked. And I used many, many words, and I tried to explain what the fair relating was. So, and I thought, would it be beneficial to do more defining of fair relating and things like that? And it's like, it's so many things. But what it is mostly is just relating in a way that is fair. And you might think, well, why do we need to do that? It's because I've noticed in my healing journey that a lot of the reasons why I felt disempowered, why I felt wounded, why I felt hurt, lesser, self-worth issues, abused, all of those things were a result of unfair relating. And unfair relating happens when people are being vampires. So when this energy, like we talked about thoughts and feelings being energy, when we are not sovereign beings, tending to ourselves and knowing that we can give ourselves what we need, and we go outside of ourselves to get what we need. So someone who's coping narcissistically will do this by looking for praise and looking for admiration and looking to please others in a way that they are admired, right? This is why admiration is actually an unfair relating. But a people pleaser is also doing unfair relating because they are pleasing people for the purpose of getting recognition and importance. Okay, so instead of needing recognition and importance and needing admiration, we can just honor ourselves where we're at and honor the other where they're at. One of the things that makes this difficult is punishment and reward parenting, which is a way of parenting that we've been passing through as a society, right? It took the place of corporal punishment. We're not hitting our kids anymore, but now we've been trying to shame and blame them and power play them into conformity, into making sure they fit into what we expect of them. So expectations is another unfair relating dynamic. And what it has done is caused a bunch of our people to feel less than, to be afraid of making mistakes, to seek approval, and to suppress and deny who they really are, their real urge, their real creative force, their real freedoms, in favor of doing what is accepted so that they're not punished. But not only that, we have a lot of adults trying to punish other people for not fitting in, which is reminiscent of what the parent did to the child. Punish you for not doing what I expect, not doing the right thing, not fitting in, not coloring in the lines, being in this box, doing what's expected of you. And this is because of expectations put on us by a society. Like the parents are maybe trying to live up to what their peers want, or maybe even just have an easier life without the challenges of, dealing with a rebellious child, or a child that makes a mess, or is so curious that they might, wander off and things like that, right? It's like, well, curiosity is driven from the heart and the urge. It's the innocence of a child, and it will lead the child to learn what they came here to learn. They're their own being who came to Earth to have their own experiences. And a healing journey is basically the undoing of what we adopted to cope with our environment growing up. And not everybody is suffering from the environment they adopted to grow up in, right? But there's some level of understanding that can be gained when we look at our coping mechanisms, why we're doing something, and the results of it. And usually that's when we get stuck, or when we're uncomfortable, or when, it's not working for us anymore, or when we've hurt somebody, or we're hurting ourselves, or we feel really empty, or we're addicted to something. Those are the things that get our attention. When, and then when we trace them back, then, what we find as healers is that they're rooted in something that we had to cope with in childhood. Okay, so I'm just going to take a moment, run to the ladies' room, and I'll be right back. Okay, on my way back I grabbed these. These are going to be our picks. I just love these. So we've got the roses. Pick one. The mum in the middle. Pick two. And this little guy, pick three. What is this guy? It's a Gerbioka? Gerbera. A Gerbera. Okay. It's a lot of green. There's one little flower in there. I was like, I will happily adopt you. I got two of these mums. My other mum, you can see here, she's not doing so well, but she's bloomed twice for me. So a while back I noticed that I couldn't keep plants alive. And I was determined to learn. So what I did for a while, it took about 6 months or so. Everyone that I encountered, and I was out and about a lot at that time, that had a green thumb, I would meet new people. I would ask them, do you have a green thumb? And if they did, I would ask them if I could take some of their green thumb, and I would rub my thumb against their thumb. And I would say, you know, I'm learning to have a green thumb. And it worked, because now I can keep plants alive. I love my plants. I mean, I really love my plants, you know. So I got those plants, and happy to have them here in our collection. So we're going to start with pick one, which will be the roses. So if you chose the roses, this is your reading. Okay, we're looking at how can you apply fair relating to this relationship. How can you apply fair relating to this relationship? 3 cards for you. 1, 2, 3. We got 4 for you. That's all right. And then I'm going to use the other. Did I get the other tarot deck? I did not. I'll be right back again. I had it here all along. Just getting a little extra exercise, no worries. Anytime I have to take a retake, that's what I say to myself. If I walk into a room and forget something, it's like, oh yeah, I just need a little extra exercise, no biggie here. I live in a studio right now, so it's not an issue. Now we're getting some cards for the other person. 3 cards for the other person. Let's get 4, since we got 4 for the... No. Okay then. The reading could be reversed, so if I'm describing you, it could be the other person, or vice versa. So just, you know, take what resonates, okay? And I've got these essence decks, which are going to help us figure out what's going on in the relationship. I am still in kind of a resting mode, you know, taking it easy here. But I just can't help it. I love doing this, so I'm doing it. This is just my fun thing to do. Alright. Close it a minute. Okay, you've suffered some sort of loss in love. Love, trust. And, you know, we all have. That's pretty basic, right? But, like, the cards are showing that you're still more in the state of noticing the loss than noticing what you've gained from the situation. Okay? You haven't quite picked up the nuggets of wisdom that you can gain from a situation, right? You're still in the pain of it. You're still in the loss. And as a result, you're more logical. You're not opening your heart to others. And in some cases, you're very balanced with masculine and feminine energy, right? So you're not like acting in like toxic masculinity or toxic femininity or anything like that, but there are some cases where you've been kind of cutting, kind of like blunt to the point where it's just like laying down the law with no sugar. Not that that's a bad thing, you know, some people very much appreciate that. But this is what it's saying, okay? So it appears that you may have closed your heart down right now, and you're not quite able to really appreciate the fullness. You're not quite healed from a loss in love. Okay, the other person. The other person is healing. Things are changing for them in a way that may not have been pleasant or welcome or planned, like right there having like a tower moment. But the tower is because they were a bit stuck. They don't seem to be giving to you at all. They're kind of just like focused on themselves. The things they're doing are for themselves. But they're doing that so they can build up their own strength. They're taking care of themselves right now. But things are falling away for them so that other things can be cleared away and that they can see the brighter side of things. So it's not that it doesn't necessarily mean that they'll always be. I mean, it's kind of like mirrored energy, right? Because but what this is showing is that something is changing for them. They're not going to stay stuck in the focused on self, right? And it doesn't even necessarily say they're focused on lack or anything. It's just like they really are focused on healing. Okay? Staying strong in the face of a difficult situation. So maybe there has been some time apart, and it may require, like, you may be at a distance from this person, and you may need to have a conversation. There may need to be a conversation that's being put off. Yeah. I keep getting my water go down the wrong pipe a little bit. So the conversation's difficult. It's like hard to have this conversation. It makes sense since both parties seem to have been needing to heal. I think you were hurt by the situation, and they were hurt already. They were already... maybe they even used this situation to realize the place that they were hurt and have been healing because of what this showed them. This may be a family member, a mother situation. Someone that you felt was more of like a pillar in your life. And maybe it's been difficult to have this time apart. Could be a sibling, a neighbor. Someone you really trusted, someone you really felt like had your back, you know? It wasn't shallow, it was really a deep bond. Yeah, there was so much depth in this relationship. It was so grounded. May have gone on for a long time. There were lots of things communicated about. There was a lot of nurturing and contentment and fulfillment and happiness in this relationship. Okay. So perhaps there was a falling out. What needs to be said, Spirit? You may have had a falling out. Or it may have just been time to heal, and so that's why things have gone the way that they have. As some sort of divine plan for you both to have this time apart to heal. And maybe the purpose for this reading, for you to come to this reading, is so that you can help yourself move past the part where you're hurt and into the healing. And the only thing that would stop you from that is one of the steps of healing. You've acknowledged that you're hurt. Can you validate why you're hurt? It's a valid thing to be hurt. No matter who was wrong, right? How you feel is valid. It's valid for you to feel the way that you feel. There's a lot of love in this situation, and you don't want to give up on it. You may feel very intimidated by going into this situation. It's like, why you're intimidated is a piece of your ego that's identifying with being victimized, being hurt, is scared to be let go of. That's a coping mechanism that you've put in place to protect you, and that coping mechanism says, blame that person. They are the reason for my pain. And all that is a way to not feel your pain. It's a placeholder for your pain. It's the projection. When we talked in the beginning about thoughts being things and how people can project onto us their thoughts, and we can feel that, it's a real thing. And it's just human nature when we are looking outside of ourselves, as a practice we haven't adopted yet, the growth mindset and the idea that we are sovereign and able to, give ourselves what we need, then it's natural for us to find placeholders for our pain that we haven't yet processed. But this is an invitation for you to take that back, to process your own pain. So the little ego part of you that doesn't want to say you were wrong, or doesn't want to humble yourself, or doesn't want to process the pain and feel the pain, is protecting you from feeling the pain, is kind of digging its heels in and saying, no, I wasn't wrong, and maybe even going over all the reasons why the other person was wrong in the situation. And they may have been, right? But everything that's in our experience is showing us something about ourselves. And if we notice that they can be wrong, then, there's probably a place that we've been wrong too, in the same situation or another. So let's look at the fair relating deck and see what that has to say. It's important not to beat yourself up, right? It's hard, you might have some tears. There's a little child part of you that it was really risky to be wrong. There was punishments. There was maybe things that were taken away from you, because you were wrong. The answer is within. What would love do? I mean, you got love as a card. And what is in, now insert your name, best interest? What is in your best interest? Because whatever's in your best interest is in everyone's best interest. Okay? So, sometimes it's not in your best interest to stay stuck where you are and be stubborn. Is it in your best interest? When you put it that way, it's like, oh, well, yeah, like the ego can't deny what's in the best interest when all things are considered. What would love do? Oh, here's one. Do you love the totality of their existence, or the fragments of them that cater to you? Can they be who they are, this person who did what they did, and can you still love them? Or do you only love them when they are not challenging you? Do you only love them when they do what you expect? That just made my heart open a little bit. Take a deep breath. There's unknown factors in this, right? There's more to know about this situation. And so what your choice is when you go into a situation where there's unknown factors, it means that you need to be confident in yourself that you have your own back. So are you willing to take and have your own back and do what's in your best interest? Maybe you don't know the trauma that the other person has been through that caused them to act this way. Do you really want to punish them when they could just be traumatized in a way that you don't understand? As long as you've got your own boundaries and protecting your own self and your own best interest and acting in love that way, then you should be good. They are showing you who they are right now. So what are they showing you right now? That's who they are. If they're showing you a version of themselves who's reactive, who's willing to cut you off, is that a mirror? Because you might be willing to cut them off too. If they're showing you someone who's self-protective and self-serving and self-interested, you know, that's who they are. And is that a mirror? Because it seems like you are serving yourself by harboring that hurt too, right? Because that hurt part of you, you're protecting yourself from feeling it fully by blaming and projecting them. So really, are they just another version of you, and can you accept them for who they are and what they're showing you right now? They're showing you who they are right now. Okay, last one. Fill up your own cup. Give yourself what you need or want, and give only from the overflow. Okay, so when you go into this situation, the next time you need to have a conversation with this person, make sure you've given yourself everything you need before you do that, right? Only go in when you're ready with your own cup filled up, meaning you've loved the hurt places of you. The places of you that are still hurt need your love, your attention, your focus, your presence. Be present with your own pain, so that when you go, you're not needing them to do anything particular. You're not expecting of them. You're not expecting them to feel for you, to understand you, to give you anything, to apologize. You're not expecting of them because you've given yourself what you needed out of the situation. Okay? Does that make sense? All right. I believe that reading is complete. Okay, so I honor you, your process, where you're at. It's a beautiful thing when you take the responsibility for yourself and how you feel. And then no matter what this person does in response to that, you have your own back. You have your best interest in mind, and you can comfort and love yourself through whatever it is. Love needs to be added to this situation. Okay? Okay. Remember, you don't have control over others, but you have control over yourself. Okay, that's going to complete your reading. Those who picked the roses. And I will say, I honor you, and see you on the next one. Okay, if you chose the mums, this is your reading. We're going to take a look at your energy and the other person's energy and how you can apply fair relating to this relationship. So when I look at the energy for you and the other person, you can reverse them if needed. Okay, so if it seems like I'm describing them when I'm describing you, just switch it up for yourself, okay? Okay, we got some cards for you. Let's get some cards for them. We've both experienced some heartbreak here. You may be healing from some heartbreak, though. Not quite ready to put yourself out there again. Holding back from a tower moment, meaning sustaining something that isn't sustainable, and maybe on the defense, maybe even willing to be deceptive, maybe fighting back, maybe taking revenge. You've closed your heart off because it's broken, and instead of putting your focus on healing and loving yourself through it, you're not willing to begin again. You don't realize that the universe is not going to let you sustain this behavior for long, but there is definitely some deception, manipulation, coercion. You're in war. You're in war as a result of this. Okay. It's easy to get into war when your heart's closed, you know. It's understandable, you're human. No judgments here, okay? You can come back from anything. The universe got this for you, you know, you don't need me to tell you things are not going to be getting good results because you'll live them out. But the reason you'd be drawn to this reading, because the universe knows I will tell you this to you, I will straight up tell you that the results you get are equal to the intention you have. So you might want to look at your intentions right now. The other person is kind of like a dreamer, a wishful thinker, a heart on the sleever, a very optimistic person, right? But they have suffered loss, they have had betrayal, they have been betrayed, perhaps by you, and they are willing to work alone because of it. They are working towards their financial success. They're working to be very self-sufficient. So their focus isn't on love matters or the pain anymore. But kind of in the background of how they're feeling is that they know about the failure. They know that they've lost a lot, and there's a couple different versions, okay? Some of the people are knowing that they still have something left, right? They may have lost something, but they still have plenty that they can work with, and they're just willing to work with that. And then others of them are not willing to look at what they have still left because they are suffering from the loss. I think more of them are willing to work with what they have left. Like, they know that they lost, it was painful, but they're not willing to give up. They're not down for the count. They're still going. Still, some of them though are down for now. Okay. And maybe that's how this war started, because they're not standing in their power, so you feel like you can attack. Okay? It's just what I see here. Yeah, you're definitely separated from this person. You have time apart from this person. You know, the betrayal may have been an illusion. This is someone. It could have been a separation from your community altogether, or they've been separated from the community. Someone local to you. So maybe you run into this person and it's been difficult to have time apart. Maybe you've had to change your patterns and things to avoid this person, or they have. They're the one who lost. They've lost. You got your heart broken, but they've had a lot more loss. You feel like you still have some control over the situation, but you don't realize the tower is just about to come down and tell you otherwise. So set your course right. Look at your intentions, you know. Your intentions are going to dictate what happens. So are your intentions pure? You need to get in touch with that heart, because that will guide you. That will lead you out of having to have this tower moment. But if you continue on the path that you're on, that tower moment's like right on your back. There's no communication between you and this person at this time. It's kind of funny that this card came out, I have your back. It's someone that trusted you. This person trusted you. Maybe you trusted this person and they broke your heart and now you're trying to take revenge, but there was trust. What needs to be said? Feelings have been cut out of this. Haven't seen each other in a while. Haven't felt each other in a while. That person broke out of an illusion, and it was painful. They were willing to cut their losses because something they believed about you. They probably trusted you and you were doing some bad stuff. Maybe you didn't know you were because you closed your heart. So the way you're operating just doesn't allow heart-based things, and then it's easy to step on people's toes when you're not using your heart. I got thank you for the gift. You know, this person's willing to reap what they could from the situation. Unlike pile one, this person knows that there's something to be gained from this experience. And they're just getting busy with it. They're busy with what they've learned now, what they know now. They're like, okay, I got some work to do now that I have this information. Give us the essence of the situation. There may have been a quarrel, a disagreement, a burden, but someone decided something because of it. Someone walked away. Maybe there was not a fight, and it's instead someone just walked away. Something was supposed to be brought to a higher meaning, but it wasn't. See, that's what that tower is going to teach you. Yeah, this partnership broke up. This was supposed to be soulmates. This was soulmates. It could have been a mirror relationship, a partnership, a lovers. There was a union, but no more. No union. There was never a union, perhaps, but that was the potential, or that card wouldn't have come out. Maybe you feel like it's not over. There's no play in this situation, and someone has raised their standards and asked you to level up. Invite to level up. Someone said, look, I'm not doing that game you're playing. Level this up, because my standards have gone up. Yeah, this person is totally taking the high road and looking for something new, something that not like what was happening. That may make you angry. I don't suggest lashing out at this person, because the more you lash out, the harder you're gonna get the lash back. Okay, the Seven of Swords energy that you're showing up in. You may not realize that how you're acting is harmful to yourself and others. You may not realize it. You may be in a trigger. Okay? So forgive yourself. You know, love yourself. Like, the part of you that feels all this anger and this plotting and this wanting to gain back control is a part of you that was so scared to have lost control, that suffered big consequences, that hurt heart when you lost control, when you gave your power away. You maybe gave your heart to somebody who hurt you, the way you may have hurt this person. And you haven't been able to feel the pain yet. You've been acting in ways that try to avoid that pain. And now it's like pressing on you. It's like, hey, we have a hurt heart. Instead of lashing out and trying to put it outside of you, sit with it, be with it, love the part of you, accept that you have a broken heart, accept that your heart hurts. Love the part of you that is hurt. Okay? I know this is hard, but you need a safe container to be in when you do it. You need to have a safe space, you know, and know and decide that you're not going to act out against yourself or others while you're in the pain, right? I always suggest bathtub, Epsom salt, and essential oils, you know, crystals, candles. You have guides. You're not alone. You can ask the questions to the universe and they will answer. I think you're really someone who's not tending to ask for help. But what you're doing, what you're building on, what you're acting on is, both parties have been an illusion. Both parties have seen what they wanted to see. And there's some sort of irritation, maybe competition, maybe there's like, because you haven't been a sovereign being acting in sovereignty, it's like power plays have started. There's defense going on. And it's not going to end well. See, look, this card says, discord, dishonor, hollow victory. Hollow victory, meaning you might get what you want, right? You want to knock this person down, you might do it. They're not going to stay down, I can see. They're not the type of person who's going to stay down. But you might, you know, they've got a 10 of Pentacles. This is a driven person, okay? This person plays the long game. This person is not going to, it's not going to be worthwhile to put your energy on knocking them down when you could put that same energy on lifting yourself up. Get on even ground with this person. They raise their standards, don't you get it? Like, they're up here. You can come here and try to kick their feet out from under them, but it's just like they tripped and they get back up. I mean, you can't keep this person down. And then when they get up, they're going to get up even higher than where you knocked them. You're helping them, because this person takes their weaknesses and learns from them, their failures, and turns it into something better. They alchemize. They understand that to achieve what they want, they have to look out for themselves and learn from their experiences. So you knock this person down, you're literally going to make them stronger and help them out to get even higher than you, and you will still be where you were. You get that? Okay. It's so interesting that you would come here, and you know, I appreciate you being here. I honor you. I have no judgment. I understand that these feelings that you can feel when you don't feel whole, when you feel so hurt, when you've been kicked and treated like that, when you've been mistreated, you've been plotted against, you've been used, it's understandable that you'd want to lash out against somebody else. It feels desperate, right? It feels like too much pain that someone shouldn't have to bear the burden of. But if you continue this war, you are really hurting yourself. You won't win it. It's the you're dealing in lower weapons that only could those kind of weapons could only imprison someone who didn't know that they were bigger than those weapons, and this person knows they're bigger than those weapons. And by perpetuating the cycle, by staying in those energies and doing what was done to you, you see how you're in a loop? That's called karma. If you'd like to get out of the karma, you can't just perpetuate the cycle by doing what was done to you. You have to be willing to raise your standards. You have to be willing to look at your weaknesses. You have to be willing to feel your pain without projecting it and blaming and shaming and putting it onto someone else and taking revenge. You have to you have to take your power back from that, and you can do it. That's your power, and you're giving it away, and you're acting like a vampire because you're not giving yourself what you need. You're trying to get it from outside of yourself. You're trying to get the satisfaction of feeling in control, which is a temporary fix, as you know, because you always need more. You always need someone else to knock down. You always need someone else to conquer. You always need another fix, because it's an avoidance tactic. It's not addressing the core issue, which is keeping you busy in a loop of hell, basically. Wow. I'm so surprised that I was given the opportunity to say this. But let's go to the fair relating deck and just see what it says, okay? There's unknown factors, right? I think the unknown factors were partly you don't know what you're messing with. You don't know what's about to happen. The universe seeks balance. So justice, like if you don't give yourself justice, justice is coming. It will come. And you're going to be okay either way, you know? I don't mean to sound daunting and like, oh, you better, or shaming you or blaming you. But I'm using a law of the universe to explain to you how it works, and that is that the law of correspondence, you know, what you can, this is, that karma that you're perpetuating, it's gonna come back in an even stronger loop. And if you think you're gonna knock that person off their feet, you won't even see it coming when it comes to knock you in the loop that just came right back around like a boomerang. Spend time alone. That's how you can interject fair relating into this relationship, is spend time alone, okay? And that makes sense, because you'll want to process some of the things instead of projecting and putting it onto someone else and seeking revenge and coercion and manipulation and all those things, deception. Put that energy right back into you. You can't lose when you invest in you. You cannot lose. And love is what this situation needs. Love for you. You don't need anybody else. You don't need their power. You don't need their time, their attention, their nothing, their recognition, nothing. You don't need anybody else if you give it to yourself. It takes bravery. I know you're brave enough. It says part ways. The fair thing to do is to part ways. Okay? But then we got play together. See, this person invited you to raise your standards. They raised their standards and they said, I will only deal with you on this higher plane. And the higher plane affords play. The higher plane is not deceiving anybody. The higher plane says, I'm here, innocent like a child, willing to be curious, willing to play, willing to see what there is, and I'm also willing to learn. I'm also willing to grow. That means when I find something that, isn't playful, it isn't a beautiful, lovely, enjoyable experience, then I address it within myself, but I only come back to you to play. I don't come back to you with any of these difficulties of projection and power plays and things like that, right? Give them space. A lot of stuff about leaving this person alone. Okay? So that play together, I think, is a possibility if both parties are willing in the future. That just means be very lighthearted next time you encounter this person, but it shouldn't be anytime soon, right? It should not be anytime soon. You should be parting ways. You should be giving them space. You should be spending time alone. You should be delving into your own mystery on why you do what you do. Validate why you do what you do. It's not that you're doing wrong. It's not that you're wrong. It's that this part of you needs your love and you're just giving away your power. You can't do anything to this person that they can't, overcome. They won't be susceptible to it once they've cleaned up and raised their own standards, and it appears they have. So I just feel like one more blow towards them is not going to be good for you. Okay. Well, what a beautiful thing that you got to come to this reading, to get this information. That in itself is, that's got to tell you something, right? I honor you. I honor you where you are in your process, and if you are not the person who's deceiving and betraying, then, reverse it and think about the things I said in terms of allowing that person to be who they are, make their mistakes, and know that you've raised your standards, and know that whatever they do isn't going to do shit to you, and that you can keep going, that you've made the right choice, and that it's okay to leave this person behind. It's okay to keep going. It's okay to tend to yourself. It's okay to know that whatever they took, whatever you lost in this situation, you still have plenty to go on. And the good work that you're doing is good work. And it's okay to work alone. You don't need them to work with you. Maybe that was the plan. Maybe if they stepped up, that was the way it was going to go, but they didn't. They didn't. And now it's going to hurt you if you stay and wait. Okay? They'll catch up if they need to. They'll be kept away, and you'll have a new option, in the future, is what I'm feeling more likely. So I think that situation is not something that you line up with anymore. Okay, so if they level up, then, maybe you offer a lightheartedness to them, but it doesn't mean to drop your boundaries. It doesn't mean that you have to like not consider your own needs, your own boundaries, and your own standards. Those things I think you've learned are very important, especially in this situation, especially with this person. Because this person seems willing to do a lot to avoid their own pain. And you probably already know that. And that's probably why you learned to not do that, right? Sometimes people are an example of what not to do. We need those too. So can you honor that person for being that for you? You know? Okay. Okay. I honor you, whichever party you are, in your process, where you're at, and I will possibly see you next time. Okay? Hi, pick 3. If you chose the, what was it, a Garbona or something like that? If you chose the little plant, this is your reading. We're going to look at how can fair relating be applied to this relationship. I didn't know if that card wanted to be reversed or not. So sometimes the roles can be reversed, right? So if I'm describing you and it sounds like the other person, you can just flip them, okay? That happens. Okay, now we're going to get some cards for them. See where they're at in their energy. Looks like you've been overcoming some stuff. Okay. Your energy is passionate, fiery, what does this mean? Maybe really focused on love. And a comfort zone. In a comfort zone. Focused on love in a comfort zone. Maybe focusing on love is your comfort zone. Have you been focused on love as a way to comfort yourself and like distract from worldly things that you could be doing? Let's see. What is their energy? Their energy is they're stagnant too. They are stuck on a lost opportunity. And a conflict between home life and work, financial, kind of a financial issue. Not really knowing how to get out of a situation where they feel really burned out, perhaps. They're resisting some changes. changes that they would have to initiate. And yeah, maybe missing out on some opportunities because they're a little stuck, but it's like they're mirroring you. You seem to be in a very similar place, but your coping mechanism is love. The cards are not telling me about their coping mechanism. Their coping mechanism is probably exhaustion, victim mode, kind of just feeling like tired, like they need to rest. You may be in a relationship. This could be a family member. Things don't feel as secure as they are. And maybe you have plans, but like nothing's been implemented. Right? A lot of planning, not a lot of implementing. Okay. A lot of comfort zone here, a lot of like comfort. Like you may be very generous with each other, like both in this kind of comfort zone of not proceeding forward. You feel safe, right? You don't want to upset the apple cart. There's a stable foundation, you don't want to upset it. You're focused like with rose-colored glasses almost, and this person is exhausted because whatever they're doing, or whatever you're doing, to sustain this is making them miss out on what their soul's calling is. It's like past due for both of you, really, to move out of this comfort zone. Comfort zones are a beautiful thing, though. You are in a pairing with this person. You feel stronger together. You know, you feel like this is a safe structure to be in. You're happy with the abundance that you share. But maybe both holding back certain things. The love isn't really freely flowing, I don't think. Maybe because of this person's exhaustion and worry about money and things like that. Maybe always waiting for something to change too. Like always waiting for like... Or maybe purposely throwing each other off kilter a little bit now and then to just shake things up, because within this safe comfort zone, you do realize something has to change and you kind of get bored or something, and maybe you keep throwing sticks in each other's spokes, but without really making changes to move forward. Does that make sense? Maybe you're doing a lot of partying within this comfort zone. Maybe that's part of the exhaustion. Unwilling to look at some of the ways that you're stuck. Maybe just starting to get new realizations, though. Maybe over this Mercury retrograde, and you can be watching this at a different time, still be relevant. But maybe like new things are starting to poke in, and so you're starting to see like, oh, yeah, you have a lot of plans, but it's not been fruitful. Yeah, I'd say like you do get the insight, you do get the ideas, but they're just not followed through on yet. Maybe it's like you get new ideas all the time, and so it's like, ooh, this, ooh, this, ooh, this. And it's a lot of dreaming and a lot of different things, a lot of different possibilities. And because there's so many possibilities, none of the opportunities are taken. This person is totally mirroring you. Like what you see in them is existing in you. So if you see that they're not very loving towards you, look at how loving you are towards yourself. Are they mirroring the level of love you have for yourself? There is a higher way of communicating that you both could be doing in this relationship. Just looking at things from a higher view, like what is the meaning of where we're at and what we're doing here? What is the higher purpose of it? And how can we put something fresh into it in that way, with those regards? Yeah, I just got flashed to the dream I had last night, and I think it's more or less that Spirit's way of showing me that, like, there are a lot of dreams here. You know, what do they mean? Why are you having these? You know, if you don't know how to feel, maybe admitting that. Like, maybe there's just maybe it's you've outgrown certain things and you're not wanting to admit it because you don't want to lose what you have, but there is a fresh new way to have the fruits show up in this relationship. Like, there's new fruits to be had. There's something more here. You know, like, I don't know how to feel, but we go good together. If you can grow together, and since you're mirroring each other, it's certainly possible that you can grow together, then you can keep these roots. You can honor each other's process, and, you know, as you each take the steps you need to take, instead of, you know, continuing on in this fashion of, like, maybe just leaning on each other for what you could be giving yourselves, which is reassurance and love and acceptance. You know, once you give it to yourself, then you both grow without having to do this leaning Tower of Pisa thing, right? You grow together if you both take on the stance of growth mindset. So what is a way to add fair relating to this relationship? The first card that comes out is creative solutions. Create a new solution. You guys are good at coming up with new plans, right? So come up with one that will actually move you forward out of this pattern that you've been in. Forgiveness. Accept how you feel first. So however it is, you know, we talked about some things that might need to be accepted. About feeling safe, about not knowing how to feel, about that you go good together. And then be with your feelings. I don't know how to feel, accept that you feel that way. Be with your feelings. Be with your feeling of not knowing how to feel. Your feeling of confusion, right? Then accept how you feel. Accept that you're confused. Accept whatever that is. Then communicate using I statements. Okay. This is an indication that you're being sovereign, that you're taking care of yourself, that you're not having expectations of the other person, that you're not criticizing, you're not needing them to be anything other than what they are. Celebrate how far you have come. I think you guys are good at celebrating. I think that's like, keep doing that, you know. You've come a long way. You're doing a wonderful job. There's a cycle that you're in that's ready to be graduated out of. Hold space for the other. Know they can heal and understand. Expect the best for them. So when there is a situation where you're not seeing eye to eye, or one person's burnt out and the other person wanted attention or whatever like that, hold space for them to feel better and get their energy back. Hold space for them to recover and eventually come around and understand your point of view, right? expect the best for them. Expect that they can recover themselves, fill their own cup up, and then that they will offer you the overflow when they have some. Because if you hold them in the space of always noticing the lack, then that's where they have to meet you at, because that's the only space you're holding for them. This is someone you want to grow and learn with. You guys have been scared to lose each other maybe, and that's maybe why you haven't taken the steps. You have to trust that the other person is going to step with you. There are creative solutions. It's something new, but it's also something that you're willing to follow through on, willing to take the step in. Celebrate each step. As far as you've come, like, each step of the way can be celebrated. Each accomplishment, each idea, each failure, even failures, right? Because you know what you do want by knowing what you don't want. So it's all been valuable in your process. Okay? Very interesting. So I just want to reiterate and kind of say, like, you are doing a wonderful job here. Like, nothing's gone wrong. And I feel like my approach to, like, kind of saying, well, you're stuck and you're not doing any movement and not taking your actions and things like that, it's like not to shame or blame you. I'm just very blunt. I'm just very, like, matter of fact about these things because of my own journey of just, like, I'm not in the place where I want to be victimized or spend any time, like, hating on my mistakes or failures, because I take them all as a way to learn. So I don't want you to feel like I'm, you know, judging you or trying to be a parent that says you did it wrong or you've wasted time or how dare you or anything like that, because that's not the approach that I come from in any way and at all. Not for myself and not for you. When I'm very matter of fact, it's just because I'm very matter of fact, because I don't think it's wrong to make mistakes. I don't think it's wrong to drag your feet. I don't think it's wrong to meander and take your time and to stay in a cycle for years. You know, if that's what you do, then that's useful to you. You know, take everything that it's worth. This is just a way for the universe to kind of, you know, you were drawn to this reading because the universe knows I will poke it right into you as an idea. Something for you to consider is that you can step out of some of these comfort zones into a more growth focused cycle to make a lot of progress for yourself and your loved one. Okay, someone who you do love and who it's nice to focus on the love you have, but if you both become sovereign, and you both take the steps and you both hold space for each other, you'll grow right out of the stuckness, and you won't have to be surprising each other and throwing sticks in the spokes. You'll just be growing and learning and playing together. Playing because that's what you do. Accepting each other because that's what you do. Loving each other because that's what you do. Following through on plans and inspirations with each other because that's what you do. Celebrating with each other every step of the way because that's what you do. You have a lot to celebrate. Okay, it's a really beautiful thing. Thank you for letting me feel into that. I honor you and where you are in your process. It's a beautiful thing, and perhaps we'll see you in another reading.